This is a small, dirty, octagonal scrap of paper. Faded magenta, smaller than a stamp you would buy today with one corner clipped off. When it was printed, it was worth 1 cent. In 2014, it sold for $9,480,000. 1 cent to $9.5 million. That is not a typo. It is a real number on a real receipt. So how does a single penny stamp become what's widely called the most valuable object by weight that humans have ever sold? Let me walk you through the price. Here is what makes it strange. Back in 1856, the colony of British Guiana in South America ran out of stamps. A shipment from London was late, so the local postmaster had a printer knock out an emergency batch at the newspaper office, a 1 cent stamp for sending papers, printed in black ink on magenta paper. Nobody saved these. They were the receipts of everyday mail used and thrown away. And out of that whole batch, exactly one is known to survive today. 1. There is no second copy anywhere on Earth. You are not bidding on a stamp. You are bidding on the only one there is. And the price did not jump to millions overnight. It climbed, one famous sale at a time, for 100 years. In 1922, a wealthy American named Arthur Hind bought it at a remarkable auction in Paris. The stamp had belonged to a reclusive millionaire collector, and when he died, the French government seized his entire collection as war reparations owed by Germany, then sold it off lot by lot. Hind paid about $32,000, reportedly outbidding even an agent sent by the King of England. In 1970, a group of investors bought it together for $280,000. Then, in 1980, an heir to a chemical empire paid $935,000 for it. Each owner thought they had bought the top of the market. Each one was wrong. The little magenta scrap just kept climbing. Which brings us back to 2014. The stamp comes up at Sotheby's in New York. The hammer falls. The winning bid, once you add the auction house's fee, comes to $9,480,000. The buyer is a shoe designer named Stuart Weitzman. And here is a detail you could not invent. For more than a century, almost every owner has quietly marked the back of this stamp like a private fingerprint. One owner's widow even tried to bury her late husband's little clover mark under a big ink star. Weitzman, true to form, added a pencil drawing of a stiletto shoe, right on the back of a $9.5 million object. With that one bid, a 1 cent stamp becomes what's widely called the most valuable object by weight ever sold. A piece of paper you could lose in a coat pocket. And here is the part the headline number hides. The story everyone tells you ends at $9.5 million, with the stamp only ever going up. But it did not. In 2021, Stuart Weitzman put it back on the block at Sotheby's again. The experts predicted it would sell for somewhere between $10 and $15 million. It did not. When the bidding stopped, it had sold for $8,307,000 to the dealer Stanley Gibbons. That is below what it cost 7 years earlier. The world's most expensive stamp had lost about $1.2 million, calculated straight from the 2 receipts. Sit with that for a second, because it had never happened before. For more than 100 years, every single time this stamp changed hands, it sold for more than the time before. That was the whole legend. It only went up. 2021 broke it. The unbeatable object got beaten by the one force nobody can argue with, what a buyer will actually pay on the day. And one last thing the brochure skips. The chemical heir who set the record in 1980 later died in prison. So why does anyone still call this a good buy? Because of what you actually own. Every other trophy on the billionaire shopping list has rivals. There are dozens of Ferraris. There are many copies of almost everything. But there is exactly one British Guiana 1 cent magenta. Not the best of its kind, the only one of its kind. Scarcity does not get more absolute than a population of one, and that single fact is the floor under the entire price. Let me put the weight in plain terms. This stamp weighs about 1/20th of a gram, lighter than a grain of rice. At its record price, that is roughly $190 million per gram. Gold trades for about $60 a gram. So by weight, this faded little square of paper is worth millions of times more than solid gold. Not because of what it is made of, paper and ink cost nothing, but because of a single word, only. So what does the world's most expensive stamp really cost? On paper, $9,480,000. But the honest answer is messier. It cost one buyer more than $1 million in lost value 7 years later. It cost another his record and eventually his freedom. And it costs every owner the strange burden of holding the only one there is. So is it worth it? As a piece of paper, of course not. But as the one object on Earth that nobody else can ever own, to the buyer who needs that, it is worth every cent. That is the real price tag, and it is not printed on the stamp. Next, we put another impossibly small, impossibly expensive treasure on the scale. the Codex Leicester, the notebook Leonardo da Vinci filled by hand, and what it cost Bill Gates to own it. Every number you just saw is traced to a named source, listed in full in the description below.